Welcome and thank you all for coming so much. My name is Lauren Barchi and I'm the Assistant Director of the Office of National Scholarships. And today's panel is about graduate study in the United Kingdom. In particular, this panel's goal is kind of threefold. First, to look at the distinctions of graduate education in the United Kingdom and how that might be different from the United States. Some outcomes and benefits after graduate study in the United Kingdom. And also, lastly, looking at some national scholarship opportunities that might help support students in their pursuit of graduate study in the United Kingdom and perhaps other locations as well. So before we kind of get started, I wanted to kind of give an overview briefly of why students might consider studying abroad or pursuing education in the United Kingdom holistically. So first, the British education system offers a much more specialized study and independent work than its American counterpart. The crux of learning is founded upon a student's individualized work, which involves significant independent research and writing. Students in Britain are expected to be self-motivated scholars who are quite directed in their academic fields. So therefore, pursuing graduate study in the UK will often require an extra measure of self-discipline and motivation from the American student. So UK master's courses, the term used for a degree program, tend to be very focused, and students leave a specialization that often grants them an edge in their particular field. So further, graduate study takes less time than in the United States. Master's degrees are often only 1 year, from September to September, of intensive study, and a PhD usually takes 3 years to complete because there's no taught element, rather it relies on original research. This might be also delight to some ears in the room that you don't have to take the GRE to also come to graduate school in the United Kingdom. But I don't want to do all the convincing. Today we have a lovely panel of esteemed guests that will offer their perspective on the United Kingdom and graduate study there. So my first question is, what was your experience studying in the United Kingdom, and why would you like to pursue graduate study at a British institution?
So I did a 1-year master's at Oxford, and I did a top degree. So I did 2 semesters of coursework, and then the 3rd semester through the summer into fall, I did a research project. And that was a really unique combination of both coursework and then taking that into a very specialized research. And then I got to work with not only researchers at Oxford, but also I was co-advised by someone at Royal Holloway in London, which was a really unique opportunity to work. I'm a pollination biology field, so I got to work with leaders in the field, and that's what really drew me to apply to these UK programs.
So I also did a year of master's at University of Cambridge, so just down a bus ride from Caitlin. And I did astrophysics, so I tell people all the time they study the diets of black holes. And I did so with one of the best researchers on the subject in the world. That's how I chose to go to the UK. Primarily, I chose the person I wanted to work with first, and then I said he happened to be in the UK, so it was kind of maybe other way around. But it's a totally legitimate thing to also want to study abroad first, and then try to find somebody there. It was a great experience. I had there's different levels of communities there, so you have your department, or the people you get to know, which are doing the same things that you are. You also have your college, which is a very unique thing to the three colleges in the UK, which is Cambridge, Oxford, and Durham University. These colleges, sort of like Harry Potter houses, you split up the set of houses, you have like 31 colleges, and you get put into one of those, and those are the people you get to know. If you're an undergrad, your whole 3 or 4 years that you're there, and you study with them. And I specifically, for my fellowship that I was there on, was in Gates, Cambridge. Had another level of community with these people who were all humanitarians, all kind of mini Bill and Melinda Gates, which were the people that found the scholarship. So that was a very unique experience.
So I did a taught master's course initially. It was also the early days of the 1-year MSc in Byzantine Studies at St. Hugh's College at Oxford, and then I did a DPhil after a year away at St. John's College. And it's, I think we'll enlarge on that. I mean, it was a tremendously mind-altering experience and life-changing experience. And also, very, very different than what we experience in a big state university like we're at. I was an undergraduate at Penn State University, so very similar to the environment here. And so I can kind of speak to transitioning from this kind of environment to the environment of Oxford.
This is on it. Much like Dr. Decker, I began in the taught course. It used to be called Parts and Tripos in applied mathematics. I think it is now called an MSc, if I'm not mistaken. And moved on to that on the PhD track, but I only finished 1.5 years of the MPhil before moving to the University of California. So I have an experience in the reverse direction. I went from the British system to an American system. I'll expand on that later. And onto the experience part, which I'll also expand on later. I think the most important thing was having the opportunity to talk to people from other fields meaningfully almost all the time, which may or may not happen in an American system. I think a lot of graduate schools tend to hunker down and do their own work.
I'm a bit of an imposter, actually. I'm the only one who hasn't studied at the graduate level in England. Last time I was formally in school in England was when I was 16. When my family lived there, and I went to school in London and lived there for 6 years, so I have a deep passion and affection for the United Kingdom, but I can't speak about my own experience as a graduate student. But I'll have more to say later. I can't answer this question directly with Martin.
So part of you started this already, but I'd like to know more how you selected an appropriate graduate program for your interests and needs.
Very broad question. You could devote an entire hour, maybe two, or more. But the key here for me, and I think this will be shared by other panelists, is having a very clear idea of what one wants to do. And that sounds a little bit paradoxical compared to what happens next. That when you actually start your course in England, you tend to branch out, have broad conversations across the aisle with other disciplines. But at the time of application, one should have a very clear focus. And for me, that focus was a very specific area of physics. It could not have been done at Oxford because Oxford has a great humanities curriculum, but at that time didn't have a particular concentration in physics. And I was left with Imperial in Cambridge. And then, of course, parents came into the picture and said, no, you're not going to Imperial. And so I said, okay, let me apply to Cambridge. But I did have a very clear idea of what I wanted to do, the specific field, who I wanted to work with. And we'll talk about that in a bit, but that is probably the first thing I would recommend before starting to apply to any of these schools.
My experience was quite the opposite. If I could run a risk of contradicting you. When I finished my undergrad here at USF, I knew I wanted to keep doing research, but I didn't know what I wanted to specialize in. And jumping right into a PhD program in the US, where it's dedicating 5 years or a master's, which is 2 or 3, when I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. This master's 1 year is very interdisciplinary, so it was biodiversity conservation and management, and it really zoomed out and let me look at the entire breadth of opportunities that was available in the field of conservation, which was incredibly valuable when I actually then decided at the end of the first 2 semesters, I need to pick a research project. I had a lot of context to make that decision, which then carried into what I wanted to do during my PhD. It was also a very hands-on program, which was incredibly appealing to me. It didn't just sit in the classroom. I also got to go out in the real world and talk to, we did field trips to WWF UK, the headquarters there, and got to meet some of the people working on global conservation issues. And also my favorite was a field course to the Canary Islands, where we met with people on the ground, policymakers, ecologists, and land managers who were really working collaboratively on conservation solutions. So it was that combination of, I knew I wanted to do conservation, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to focus on. And having both just this wide range of different options, as well as kind of some experience doing hands-on things, was really valuable.
Well, my experience going in the opposite direction again, I agree with Dr. Basu. In my case, I could not do, for example, what I wanted to do at Oxford. The person that I wanted to study with, the subject I wanted to do was only being done at Cambridge. I guess where I have some freedom there where there was how that I just choose which program to do. I could have done a physics degree. I could have done a top master's or a research master's. I decided to do a research master's. So a top master's would have been, I think it's more common that you do classes, a variety of classes for a few terms. At the end of that, you then have to take exams as an exam term at the very end of it all. There's no exams in between, which is, I guess we can talk about later, but so it's a very different experience.
It's taking all my talking points.
But I was, I couldn't do much astronomy here at USF. At the time, there wasn't much astronomy going on. So if I wanted to do astrophysics, I had to either, during my undergrad, I went off to do internships at these things called REUs, which is experience for undergraduates, which I can talk about later. Or just that, so after I finished this, I was kind of sick of classes. I really wanted to do research. So I decided to do a research degree from Cambridge. And I ended up working. But so I guess what they said on the applications was that this would not prepare you to do the PhD degree. You should take classes, and I felt that was pretty true. I should have taken more classes before that, but I really wanted to do research.
What I'm hearing is that Cambridge is a good fallback school.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right. I was actually unable as well to study what I wanted, what I was interested in. So the undergraduate school did not have any kind of real training in the particular variety of history I was interested in. And there were very few programs actually in the United States at all in what I'm interested in. So, and that remains the case. But I was very fortunate because I happened to have an undergraduate history professor who had gone to Oxford, and he knew the curriculum, he knew the faculty, and he kind of took me aside and advised me that I could do this. And it would never occur to me, so it seems like it was one of those moments in life where you really get someone who cares to help you. And so I feel very fortunate for that.